So when we switch to the defense, if you go back to 2019, this is a defense that developed throughout the season, that took its hit, took its knocks as, okay, this is just an offensive show, and they're going to carry them to a national championship. But it turned out to be a legit top 10 type defense down the home stretch. Your thoughts in looking at, you mentioned linebackers to me in regards to having to overhaul the linebacking position to a certain extent. Who are we looking for in 22 at linebacker?
Yeah, so, we were talking about the transfer portal earlier. LSU's also had some fringe NFL draft guys come back. So they get Jay Ward back, a really solid member of the secondary. I think he was playing out of position last year. They also get Dre Jenkins back, a good contributor at wide receiver. But I think the biggest name that they get back is Micah Baskerville, who is a very experienced player, another North Louisiana Tiger, who is going to undoubtedly be the leader of that linebacker core. So the key now is finding the other guy. They bring in Wes Weeks, a Virginia transfer. They obviously have some other talented players, Greg Penn being one of them. But this is, once again, something that gets very interesting, right? So the defensive line looks fine up to this point. But we first need to see, Mark, what Matt House is going to do. So he is the new LSU defensive coordinator, and he has not been a defensive coordinator since 2018, where he was at Kentucky. Now, what's really interesting, Mark, is, once again, you're a diehard college football fan. You probably remember that 2018 Kentucky defense. They were really good. They had Josh Allen, two other draft picks in the top 3 rounds as well that are still in the NFL in the secondary. So it comes down to what kind of defense does Matt House want to run? How different is this defense going to look after spending time in the NFL for 3 years as just a position coach? So, he's also going to be the linebackers coach. It's going to come down to, does he want to run a 3-3-5? Does he want to run a 3-4 and have BJ Ojolari play that Josh Allen outside linebacker role? And that's going to be key in how this defense is going to look.
Yeah, Mike Edwards comes to mind off that Kentucky team in 2018. He's making plays in the NFL. You see him in the NFL playoffs right now making plays. Yeah, Kentucky could play defense in 2018 for sure. 10-3, top 10 team. All right, DBU. You know what I would love to do sometime, Carter? I would love to bring you on here because you know your stuff. Other people that really know their stuff that can debate, that know their stuff and can take it toe to toe, like a Florida rep, an Ohio State rep.
Yeah,
the various schools that would have a legit claim to DBU. LSU certainly at or near the top of the list, depending on your perspective. But Derek Stingley's gone. He is declared for the NFL draft. Eli Ricks, of course, has made his transfer move to Alabama in division. Ouch, that hurts. I heard the statistic that LSU went to the field with 2 scholarship cornerbacks against Kansas State. So to be DBU currently 2022, how does that look?
Yeah, so let me just say this, and I know a lot of LSU fans are going to get mad at me. Let's hope we hold on to that DBU title going into next year, right? So, look, LSU has had the most legendary defensive backs of this modern era play at their university, and they are unquestionably DBU. Now, I understand a lot of people are going to be like, oh, that's just an LSU fan just saying that. No, it's just true. LSU is DBU, right? Alabama's had great defensive backs. Florida's had great defensive backs. As a Saints fan as well, I know Ohio State's had great defensive backs, right? But LSU is DBU, all right? A guy who hasn't really played in 2 years is still going to be a top 10 pick. So it is unquestionably true that LSU is DBU. However,
I think it's a debate, but go ahead, Carter.
No, it can be, right? But to objectively look at LSU secondary right now and think you feel unbelievably confident about the secondary as we've been basically every year. This is the first year where you are really shivering your timbers looking at the LSU secondary, right? Now, here's the good news is that once again, the transfer portal has helped out. They bring in Greg Brooks, Joe Big Play Fuchsia, both out of Arkansas, both Louisiana prospects. Then, of course, you bring in Mekhi Williams-Gardner out of UL. So that obviously helps out. Now, How does LSU look at the safety room? That's going to be key as well. Do they want to move Jay Ward from safety, who, quite frankly, wasn't really that good at safety last year? And then, of course, you have some guys that are backups that are really talented, but just can't stay healthy. And obviously the biggest name there is former 5-star Sage Ryan. So that's what's going to be key. How they view who plays where is going to be very interesting. And the second thing, Mark, is, and you see it throughout college football, because of these spread offenses and because these defensive backs have to play so many snaps, you do see, and once again, I don't have quantitative data that backs this up, but I can tell you just from watching LSU the past couple of years, there have been a lot of injuries on the secondary, right? So you not only need to have 5 guys who can run and cover and play in space, it's kind of like the offensive line. You need 7, 8, 9 of those kinds of guys, and there's going to be a lot of those guys that need to step up going into next year.